How are you? We have some Q&A to do. Hope you're doing fine, cause it's Q&A time again. Hello world, how's it going? Hope you guys are all doing great. And if not, as always, I hope it gets better for you. So, welcome to another, Sunday, which was supposed to be my Friday night Q&A. Since I was at the AKA convention, I was not able to live stream and do a Q&A for you guys very well. There was no fish there was no connection, and yeah, so we're doing one here Sunday. Why not start off with the crazy fish feeding? Oh my god, you're going nuts. They're like little piranhas. Hello everybody in the chat, how's it going? Joe Palermo, I think I said that right. I am getting a free pond from Paul Carufro, or Cafaro, and Greg. Well, that's awesome, Joe. Glad to hear it. I'm so terrible with pronouncing names sometimes. And glad to see you in my chat. I met him at the Ohio Fish Rescue. Really cool kid. Stephen Conroe, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Says, let's get this party started. For you, Stephen, I can do that. And thanks for having me over the other day and sharing your rack with us. Whoop, 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 whoop. But you guys, if you guys didn't see my last video, which was on Stephen Conroe's rack system that he has, it's kind of unique. I thought it was cool. Check it out if you haven't. YouTube would not let me play it with the title I had, so I had to change the title to YouTube, geez, we want to watch this or whatever. Then it finally worked. I don't know what YouTube's problem is, but at least it worked. Because it was unavailable for like everybody for a real long time. And I'm actually just waking up from a nap, you guys, so I'm a little slow rolling into this thing. I was super tired. I got a lot of sun this weekend. Walked some trails, got some inspiration and stuff. Sakana Katana, Bred's Aquatics, did you pick up any fish at the AKA? So I did. I only actually brought 2 pairs of fish from the AKA. Matter of fact, we can go look at those right now, since I probably won't be doing an unboxing of them anyway. Because there's only 2 types, not really worth unboxing. Now, this was absolutely crazy. The prices that these killifish were going for. I was having problems paying some of these prices because they were just way too much. These are some of Jack Heller's Scriptosemian Etzeli. It's a really beautiful killie. Of course, he wants to hang out at the bottom and not show off. But I'll get him on camera one day, maybe, hopefully. Then the other ones I got were these, what is it, the Sporenbergi. Fun little panchaks, really cool fish. That one we can see. But sadly, Punk, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Super appreciate that. And I do have some killies for sale on the website, like the orange walker eye, fun little panchaks. Hey buddy, how you doing? I got quite a few pairs of those. We got a few more hanging in there from the Killifish Carnival. But some of these fish that they actually had, like the pairs were going for hundreds of dollars. There was some pairs that went for like $300+. Hey Bubby. Wesley's wanting to say hi. Are you wanting to say hi, Bubba? Yeah. Here just talking. He is a sweet boy. See, there you are. See, some people said hi. What are you hitting the super chat? Sadly, Punk 1977. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. It says YouTube leave LRB alone, right? I don't know what YouTube's deal is, but it's crazy. Like the level of censorship that's going on with them right now is absolutely crazy. I'm gonna flip you guys back over. So we got lots of tanks we can look at today. Kaler's Aquatics says, cool dino shirt, Wesley. They like your shirt. Bob Kaler liked your shirt. Yeah, so that's a beeper. So you can get these off of eBay for just a few bucks. And you can clip them on your tank here like this, and when you're doing water changes, you're not paying attention, it gets too high, it hits these little metal prongs and it makes noise. So it tells you if it's over flooding. Actually, I think these are like liquid indicators. Liquid level indicators is the actual term you would want to search if you're looking for that. You can drop it in a tank, I've done it, and it'll still work. Not that I recommend it, but you can. Hold on, buddy. We gotta look for questions here. I think it might. If you do have a question, go ahead and throw it at the bottom because I'm not seeing any as I scroll. How many tanks do you have? So I'm around 3. I don't know. I had 3 something. I know close to 400 containers. Oh, and we can see in the 242, by the way. Check this out. Discus are doing good. Alright, anybody got questions? Because that's what we're here for. Paymun Pesacapor, that is a hard name, dude. Says, what rocks do you suggest for the shrimp piles? So, as far as the rock piles that I make for the shrimp and stuff, this smooth river kind of rock is really good. This kind of stuff, it's pretty solid. It's not like chalky, so if you were like to scrape it on here, it's not going to make marks. So it's pretty good rock. This is the kind of stuff I prefer. I think this one might. Yeah, see, that one's got some calcium in it. But that's not an issue. I'll still use that. It's actually good for snails and shrimp and stuff. Well, here, let's not mark it up too much. Actually, you can. I think I could wash that off. Yeah, if you want to draw on there, that's fine. That's good. It's good. All right. S. Brownson says, hi, LRB. Was wondering if you knew why everywhere my hydrocotyle Japan touches my crypts. I'm talking, buddy. Please don't interrupt me. They melt. Like the hydrocotyle is acid or something. I've already moved it, but have you ever seen that before? So that's actually called allopathy. Wesley, what is it? Sorry, guys. What is it? Let's not mess with the water, please. And Daddy's doing a Q&A. Daddy's talking to everybody on here, so when you interrupt me, that's kind of rude to everybody else. Thank you. So it's called allopathy, and it happens to quite a few plants. There's not a whole lot of studies or books or information on which plants are doing it to which. But yeah, if certain plants touch other plants, it can kill them. Some don't mind, some do. I didn't realize that hydrocotyle and cryptwood. Matter of fact, I think I actually have a tank that's like that. So I'm not sure why exactly it's melting 100%. We'll go ahead and walk through here and go into the other room and see what's going on with that. So what is a good schooling fish for warmer water tanks? Cardinals are great. Rummy nose are probably some of the most tight schooling fish you can get. Hopefully the internet stays. But yeah, here's some red crypt and some hydrocotyle. I believe this is the Japan too. You know, it looks all right. I haven't really had any problems, so it's so weird with some plants why they'll melt off or why they just won't be doing that great. Best thing to do is keep feeding them. I have learned that the hydrocotyle Japan really likes its fertilizers. It really likes to be fed. So that's real important. If I don't, it'll start shrinking back. But I haven't had any issue with it with the crypt. Are angels known for eating plants? Yes, angels do like soft tissue plants like the crypts, guppy grass, subwassertang, all kinds of like soft water or soft skinned. Jeff Edwards, what are you doing in here? If you're gonna be a butt. You did it on Haley's channel, no point in doing it here, dude. I've tried to be nice to you. Captain Obvious, are all your tanks in your home? So they are. I mean, what better place to work than home? It doesn't make it easy having a kid and family and all that, trying to distract you all the time. But it's hard to complain when I don't have to sit in traffic. Can I see the goby fish, please, please? Which goby fish? I've got some peacock gobies. Do I have any other gobies? Oh, there's a peacock back there. He'll probably come up here once they see me. This one did. He's itty bitty. He's like a little miniature goby. There he is. There they are. Michael Wall, Lucas, have you ever kept or bred head tail light tetras? I think those are also known as glow light tetras too. And yes, I have kept them. I may even have some somewhere. Oh, actually in the garage I do. I haven't bred them though. Or have I? No, I have not. I don't think they're too hard to breed though. So they're like most tetras. They'll spawn in the moss and everything else. Warmer temps for sure. When you're breeding tetras, you definitely want to black out the tank for a little while when they first breed out. So for instance, this tank over here, I've been breeding these wild caught Peru tetras. There's no name for them yet. They're unidentified. But what I'll do is I'll put them in a tank like this with some rock, the tetras. This is one of my favorite ways to do it. That way you can have like an aquascape and a breeding tank at the same time. So I'll keep them in here for a few weeks. And then I'll put this over the top of them to kind of darken it up for like the last day or two. You probably don't even need to leave them in there for that long. You probably only do it for like a couple days because they readily spawn all the time. Then leave that blacked out for like a couple weeks. There's actually a little babies of theirs in here. I still keep it black. I don't think we're gonna be able to see them. They're still so tiny. I've been growing slow. That's what I'll do. I'll let them scatter in the rocks and then eventually babies will come out of it. It's really crazy. But I have a dragon. I do have a dragon, but dragon only gets so much done. There's a lot of work to do around here. High Rise 97, thank you so much for the $7 super chat. I appreciate that. High Rise 97, Canadian $7 super chat. I don't think it matters if it's Canadian or whatever. I appreciate it either way. So thank you very much, High Rise. Dan Slee, holy moly, Dan, throwing down a $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Dan. You are the man. And you know I appreciate it. You guys are waking me up now. I was so tired. I don't know, driving always takes it out of me. Like get road lag or something. Blue Ice, and sorry if I missed any of you guys' questions as I scroll through here. 3 comments at a time, bits and pieces. Blue Ice Aquatics says, LRB, when using a spray bar, is it okay to have it running off wood or spray it directly into the water? So you can have it hitting the, if you got some driftwood that it's actually hitting or running off of whatever, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that at all. To be honest, I'm not a big fan of spray bars. A lot of current I'm not a big fan of. Plants aren't a big fan of a lot of current. Like these tanks, these 125s, they're like one of the only tanks that have any kind of like circulation going in them. That's only because they're longer tanks, and these guys really love current. But the other, like my Rainbow 125 Insight, it has no current whatsoever. Plants like softer flow. So do fish, some fish, because they don't have to exert as much energy to keep up. Richard Duncan, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Appreciate it, Richard. Says, just spent way too much money at the reef. Wanted to send some your way too. Well, awesome, Richard. I appreciate that. Are you a member of the Circle City Aquarium Club? If not, I definitely recommend you checking that out. That's a local club since you're in Indianapolis, and I'm guessing you are since you've spent a lot of money at the reef, or maybe close. But check it out if you have it. And yeah, maybe I'll meet you someday. But Richard Duncan, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Very, very nice of you. Beast Heart says ratio flutions requirements. Also, is guppy grass good for white cloud minnow breeding? Guppy grass is okay for white cloud guppy breeding. So when you or white cloud breeding. So when you have white clouds, they like to scatter more on the bottom. So moss is really good. Pearlweed's really good. Any kind of thick vegetation on the bottom is really good. Algae. You can keep guppy grass on the bottom, but it's not as dense as a lot of plants can be. Like, see, you can see this is pretty dense. I don't have any guppy grass in here. I think this is like the only room I don't have any guppy grass in. But if you know guppy grass, you know it doesn't stay as tight like that. It's more loose. And I would recommend like something more of a moss or pearlweed. Reishi, as far as like its requirements, doesn't need CO2. It does need ferts and food. It likes its macros and micros. So like its potassium, iron, traces, and all that. I'm not sure which exactly really triggers it. But I know if I don't feed it, it'll die away. But if I do feed it, it's just fine. It's real weird. It's kind of a finicky plant. A lot of people grow it like crazy, but sometimes it could be a finicky plant for no good reason. A lot of these plants can be like that sometimes. They have their own little minds of their own. Look into the pea soup green tank here. There's so many of these fish are getting big too. Gary's Aquatics, LR Brett's, how do you tell the difference between male and female Indian pea puffers? Thanks, Lucas. So most people go off of size. The males will be a lot smaller. The females will be a lot thicker and bigger. But it's really hard to tell when you're just getting them from the store because they may not be a size yet. So the best thing to do sometimes is maybe get a small colony and build them up from there. And Thomas Aragon, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Thomas says keep up the good work. Well, I appreciate it. You're absolutely awesome for sending that and for the support. Like, it is very much appreciated, and it definitely goes to this whole fish room because I mean that's the only place my money goes to because this is what I love to do. But there's a lot of big things we're planning on doing here, so your guys' super chats are helping out big time, especially with the pond builds and stuff I'm about to try to get going here real soon outside. It's just, it's kind of a big budget, big ticket kind of item. But it'll be a great build for you guys to check out, and should be interesting. But thank you, Thomas Aragon. I think I said it, but it bears repeating. Let's see. Scott Shadbolt says, Red Tail Shark Community Fish Tank suitable. Currently, Angels, Neons, Assorted Tetras. So, that's really, really tricky. Like, sometimes you can get away with it, but for the most part, I would have to say no. I mean, I've had red tail sharks in like a tank like this, for instance. This 125 long, where there's just all kinds of fish like rainbow fish, barbs, tetras, cory cats, other loaches. And I have kept a red tail shark in here just fine with no issues. But some of them can just be plain out mean. So I don't know if I got lucky or what. I love these cardinals, so check these guys out. No, Perry Marsh, you made it. You're not too late. We've only been on for 20 minutes. Captain Obvious says, what foods can I feed a pea puffer? So pea puffers really love snails. They love like bloodworms, blackworms. They don't care for tetracolor tropical granules that much. Some may eat them, but they are kind of picky about them. But snails is probably definitely the best you can feed them, for sure. Daphnia, brine shrimp. You're welcome, Scott. 13th floor shoes. Anyone know if I have calamanus worms in my planted tank? Can I leave the tank with no fish and just feed the plants for a few months? Would that effectively rid the worms? I really don't know. So if anybody can help us in the chat with that. I've never actually had experiences with them. So I don't know if they need a host to keep reproducing or if they can actually live in the substrate. I know somebody in the chat has probably dealt with it, so I'll try to keep my eye on the answer for that for you guys that are listening. HC Aqua says, have you bred the Cardinal Tetras? So I have not bred the Cardinal Tetras. I have tried outside last year. I haven't really attempted since then. And yeah, I haven't. I need to try them again though, because they are getting bigger. But this fish actually runs the tank. This is the king of the tank. This is really crazy. They do this after feeding. Like this guy works for this killifish and they round up all the barbs over here. And then they like start doing their little display in the middle. It's very, very wild tank to watch after they eat. The little social dynamics of everything that goes on in it. I love it. Beast Heart says, anyone use Osmocote for plant fertilizer? Yeah, I know a lot of people do. They put them in the little tabs, the root tabs. I don't really use them. I have a whole bag full of them. I don't even bother with them though. Sometimes the capsules will melt away and then you'll get the Osmocote up out of the substrate because bigger granules will eventually work themselves up. But like swords and stuff like that, they like them. I wouldn't say they're necessary though. Blue Ice Aquatics says, so can you keep all killifish together or do you have to have separate species? So some you can keep together, but for the most part, people keep them as separate species. Like this will be, whenever I have like only a male or female of a killifish, I'll throw them in there and they all tend to get along. Just, you gotta give them space. You can't throw a bunch of killies into like a 10 gallon and expect them to be all right. But if you do it in like a 125, where they got space to break off, then they're just fine. Payman says, what do you think of EcoComplete capping a commercial soil like Tropica soil or fluval stratum? I'd like to set up a community planted tank with neon tetras, pygmy cories, and neocaridina. So the only thing, I don't really care for the EcoComplete for cory cats that much because of it being lava rock. It can be sharp and it can grind down the barbels on the cory cats over time. So I prefer something that's sandier when it comes to a substrate. But you can top it off if you want to with either or, EcoComplete or sand or whatever. You can make substrate lasagna if you want to. Like even if you were to say, okay, I want to cap this tank with something, whatever you guys choose, it could be anything. Now if it was dirt, it'd get real crazy. But like sand, rock, gravel, that kind of stuff, you could just pour it right in and do a water change and you should be all right. So you don't even have to take everything out. You don't have to redo everything. Just something to think about. Corey Basso says, how many times a day do you feed your adult fish? I try to feed them twice, but usually once. It depends on the tanks too. It depends if I'm trying to breed them. There's actually a lot of food in. Like, see these barbs? I don't know if the hill trouts do or not. They love to eat on the Taiwan lilies and the plants. I've got black worms in a lot of my substrate too. So some get a lot of live food as well that lives within the tank. Let's see. Montag says killifish tour. We could probably go over and do a little killifish looking. Let's see. Check these out. Use these for bettas. Mad Tanks. My boy Andrew at Mad Tanks. He's showing me these bettas that he keeps a female in those, which is really neat. Jetsters Aquariums, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Says for being late, LOL. Well, I'll take it. Thank you, Jetster Aquariums. I've been seeing you around quite a while here too, so thank you. Dan, who uses tropical granules? Steven. Oh, can you guys tell I'm tired? I feel like it's definitely coming through. It's so funny though, because I'll think one thing through my head while this stuff's going, and then, you know, it's always different. This is the Gressinine. This is kind of a rare species. I'm surprised this one hasn't been picked up yet. Absolutely beautiful fish. If it would actually focus, it's got red, blue with polka dots and stripes. Absolutely beautiful fin. Actually, let me see. Aha. This might help out. Wish I had a softer light though. Here we go. Get a light on this situation. Oh yeah, look at that guy. Now you can see him. Alright, questions. Oh, there are, see, like most of them are up here at the top, so we'd have to have a ladder for most of them. This is the Sheelai. Check that guy out. Amazing fish. Now, it's so crazy, and I am going to make an individual video about killifish and how it's important for us hobbyists to start breeding more. Because there's only like a real few of people who are actually breeding a lot of the killifish in the hobby right now. And they're a lot older. And we need younger people to be able to conserve them and breed them. There's like thousands of killifish out there. There's literally over 1,000. I know that much. And we hardly keep a fraction of them. And their populations are getting destroyed all the time. So I think, now I know there are like laws, DNR laws, I think, about keeping some native fish for like, I know the US. And for some states, which I kind of think is BS, because really we should be able to keep whatever kind of fish that's native around, because if we have the people that live locally actually keeping and conserving the fish that are local to them, it would be better for everybody in case something did happen. Just something I was thinking about on the road, on the way back home. But I had to look into all that, like what it's like to keep native fish. You do, you can take that and take some videos and stuff if you want. Here's the on button right here on the top. See where it says on and off? Caleb Pittman says, I want to go to Jack Heller soon. So you live down there. I'm sure he'd let you over, Caleb. It's definitely worth it for sure. And once again, sorry if I'm missing your guys' questions here. Huh? Patrick Nedley, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Says, can you talk more on blackworms and dirt substrate? Advantages, disadvantages, best way to add them. Thanks much. So, alright, blackworms and dirt substrate, definitely a good thing to have. Great combo, especially for worms, because it's what they're naturally used to. I know, bud, you're interrupting me again. Here, I see that picture. Can you go get some more? Or this will put it on your camera. There you go. Alright, sometimes you just gotta keep them busy. That's the trick. But as far as like advantages, definitely great advantages as far as turning over the substrate. Like for instance, a lot of this one's dirt behind me. They'll turn it over, they'll eat decaying roots, also add nutrients back in. As far as disadvantages, I haven't really come across much. The only disadvantages is maybe hitchhikers coming in with the bag of worms and stuff. You're gonna have to go ask your mom, please. Thank you. And yeah. I've never had like any die off or anything that actually caused problems with blackworms. The only other thing I would say is maybe if you're selling plants and that gets all over the roots and somebody doesn't understand about blackworms, or you don't pick it off, then maybe they'll complain. I always just pick them off the roots when I ship them now, if I do have blackworms. But besides that, I mean, they're absolutely awesome for an ecosystem and an environment. But thank you so much, Patrick, for the super chat and for being here. Great to see you in here. Mike Kansas says, what's the next fish plant you're looking at getting? That's a really tough question, because I've almost like, there's a lot of fish I've already had. I know I want these lamp-eye Congo tetras. I would like the betta macrostoma. What else is there? I got a list somewhere. I'm sure if I pulled up Wet Spot Tropicals list, I could come up with all kinds of stuff. HC Aqua, do blackworms ship okay? Yeah, they do all right. Now they tell you to keep them in the freezer and fridge, and I think it's almost better to keep them at room temperature in aquarium water. They'll eat mold. You can actually colonize them in aquarium water, like a 10-gallon or something. The fridge always makes them all nasty. They get all cold and ugh. How do you deal with pond snails? So I don't. I let them exist in their tanks, and then they level themselves out, and I never really have much issues with them. I'm definitely pro snail for sure. They're another great inhabitant for the ecosystem of your aquarium, because they'll be eating whatever that's left over that your fish aren't even eating, plants that are breaking down. They'll clean your glass for you. Pond snails are definitely helpful. They can be unsightly when they do hit their population booms, but eventually they will balance themselves out. Lacey's Place says, I'm getting wild ghost shrimp to breed. Do you know of any breeders? I've heard they are all wild collected. So I have not heard about anybody breeding the ghost shrimp so much. I know there are some ghost shrimp out there that are also, well, they're grass shrimp that are sold as ghost shrimp. A lot of them are actually native to America, and you can find them in waterways. So maybe that could be what you're breeding, because they are just like a glass shrimp or a ghost shrimp, but they don't need the salinity like ghost shrimp do. But I don't know anybody who's actually been breeding those. Matter of fact, I would love to have some myself. Maybe I need to go collect it. Gary's Aquatics. Lucas, have you had celestial danios before? I have, and I have a couple breeding videos about them too. They're older videos, so they may not be the best video, but I do have a couple videos on how to breed them. They're not too finicky. Swamp fish, my issue is finding live blackworms that don't cost more than gold. Yeah, right? If you're ordering from like Eastern Aquatics, you gotta buy like even a pound or something, or a half pound, but it still costs so much. Some local fish stores will order them in for you. I know some clubs will get together too and do orders. But yeah, it can be hard for availability with the blackworms sometimes for some of you guys where you are. Luckily our local fish store actually has them. Where did you get your containers the killifish are in? So those come from Aquatic Habitats. Theodore Delaka says, do cherry shrimp need to be fertilized for each batch of eggs? If my female drops, can I breed with different male without contamination from previous male? So they definitely need to be fertilized for sure anytime. As far as like contaminating, kind of like if they're like guppies, if they like actually hold on to the male's fertilization, I'm not 100%